If you're wondering about what it takes to be in the military and the requirements it has for it, one of the main thing is that it has about 4 or 5 steps until you can even go into training for it. So it takes time, so you have to have some kind of patience. It all starts with your ASVAB test. You have to have a certain score for each branch. There's Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, and there's also the Coast Guard. Each of them have a different score, of course, except for the Marines and the Army. They're similar, but the Marines are more private. So I just gave you all 5 branches, and they all, of course, have a different ASVAB score for it. And what that means is there's 9 parts on the ASVAB test, and each one you have to have a certain kind of skill. You have to have a higher score in one part of the test to be in whichever branch. They all have different requirements on what you make on the parts of the test. So that's just one part about enlisting. Second part is you have to go to this place called MEPS. It's where you do your physical not training, but your physical forms. It's making sure you don't have any kind of bad medical history, or if you don't have any broken bones, you can't have asthma, just like serious things like that. And then what they do is you get seen by doctors. It takes about 5 or 6 hours to do. There's a lot of stuff that you got to fill out. And by the end of the day, if that stuff goes well, you'll get to sign your contract, and next thing you know, you'll be in basic training with however long until your contract says you can go. It's actually 30. You have to wait 30 days until you can go to basic training. And I recently just enlisted. I'm now in the Alabama National Guard, and what that is, I'll get to the Army here in a second, but what that is, it's serving part-time while you can go to school, or you can stay in school to become an officer. This is what's called the ROTC programs you have in colleges. Or if you generally just want to serve part-time. When I say part-time, it's only 1 weekend a month and 1 2-week drill every year. Now, the difference between Army and Army National Guard or Reserves is Reserves and National Guard are part-time. Army is what they call active duty. So you're most likely going to live on a military base. You're most likely going to get deployed, whatever you need, anywhere. And the difference between National Guard and Reserves is National Guard, you have the option of being non-deployable. The Reserves, it's literally you're reserved in case you need to be deployed. So that's a little bit about the Army. Of course, it's just active duty and part-time. That's pretty much the basics of Army. Marines is similar to the Army, except it's pretty much full-time. You have to have, I think, longer schools of training, and it's just a more advanced version of the Army. Navy, of course, it's all about water pretty much. You're going on boats, and you're actually studying up on some planes, and you go to islands and places like that if you get deployed. Other than that, you're pretty much just studying like underwater sources and other things like that. Now the Air Force, of course, it's airplanes, and that's just pretty much aviation training. If you want, you can go in as a pilot and learn how to fly helicopters, planes, jets. They have all kinds of stuff there. And then the Coast Guard, which is pretty much just like a force that they use on boats. They're pretty big in like the Gulf states, like let's see, Florida, California's pretty big on it. It's pretty much anywhere that's got like a big beach and it's popular, and it's pretty much just a safer way to keep the beach areas. But they also go on like deployments out into like other countries, and they also protect that little borderline too. Now those are all the branches I just gave you, but now you're probably wondering about the payment. The payment is always a little different. If you go active duty, you're going to get paid more. So if you're in the Army and you're active duty, you're going to get paid. It just depends on what your ranking is. You start out as an E1, and then you'll get promoted, and it'll be like you'll go up to an E9 or something like that, as ever how long you stay in the military. Now, of course, if you serve part-time in National Guard or Reserves, you're only going to get like, I believe it's a total of $700, and that's between your GI Bill, your drill pay, And if you join the ROTC and you're studying to become an officer, you'll get paid as an E5, your GI Bill, your drill pay, and you'll also get what's called a ROTC stipend, which is this throws in like another $450. So I'll add it up. I think it's somewhere around like $1,450, somewhere around there. The benefits that becomes in the Army is, it's for active duty, you can retire after 20 years. Or you can wait and do 5 more years and do 25. It's just a higher payment a month on your retirement. Other benefits, it does pay for your school. So if you're a National Guard or Army or anything, any branch of the military, it will pay for your school eventually. Now, if you're in the National Guard and you're starting to become an officer, of course, you'll get a higher payment per semester on your school. Like I believe mine is somewhere around 5,228 a semester. So I think if you served, let's say if you served 4 years in the Army and then went to school, I think you would get around 4,000 a semester. So that's the difference between that. Let's see, any other benefits? Okay, of course, retirement. Yeah, retirement as an officer, it's like I think they say it's doubled the payment of just a regular active duty, a non-officer. Pretty much the reason why some people go into officers and some people just get active duty is because some people go into ROTC so they can get their degree and whatever they want, and also go into ROTC to become an officer. So they're served part-time while they're in college, and if they want, they can go active duty as an officer, and then they have to verify that by their senior year, and they'll get to compete for a job, and which nowadays there's pretty much jobs all the time for officers, but nowadays you can get a job anywhere as an officer.